Hey there, sunshine, and welcome to our biscuit making series. Chances are you've had a biscuit at some point along your life, and my favorite is the Southern Cathead biscuit. And that's what I'm going to show you how to make today, and it's going to be the first one in our series. But throughout our series, we're going to try different methods. Sometimes we're going to use the same ingredients, just different methods of making them, different pans, different techniques in rather cutting them or rolling them out or just dropping them into your pan. Everybody does them differently, but this is my personal favorite because this is how I learned how to make them from my sweet Mama Lucy. And anyone that knew my Mama Lucy knew that you had to fight to get those biscuits when you came over on Sunday afternoon after church. And thankfully, over the years, I've been given insights and ingredients and tips and tricks on things that made them taste just like hers. And for that, I'm forever grateful, because sometimes a smell or a taste can take you home. And sometimes home's exactly where we need to go. Cathead biscuits get their name from their size. Back in the Depression era, people needed to feed a lot with a little. And a good way to do that was to fill their tummies with big biscuits, because flour was essentially one of the main staples that they had readily available and didn't cost a whole lot, but it could stretch really far. And that's how I learned how to make biscuits, because everything in our family has always been Southern sized, including myself. So we're going to get started. Super simple. You only need 3 ingredients, 4 if you count the butter that goes on top. My personal preference is to use a cast iron skillet, and this is what I have here. This is one of my most precious possessions, because this was my Mama Ellen's pan, and she actually used it up until the day that she passed away, and my papa was gracious enough to let me have it. So I use it as much as I possibly can to keep her memory really close to me every day. So you're going to have your cast iron pan and heat your oven to 450 degrees to preheat. Then you're going to sift. This is my trusty sifter. I've used it for years. Love it. I'm going to use a glass bowl just so that you guys can see how things come together. And I like to use self-rising flour. Self-rising flour already has the leavening agents and salt in it, so you don't have to add a whole lot. So it just cuts down on your ingredient list. And I use whole fat buttermilk, and for this recipe we're going to use Crisco. This is going to make a pretty decent sized batch of big cathead biscuits, and you're going to use 4 cups of self-rising flour. We're going to sift that out because I don't like lumps in my biscuits. You're going to use a 1/2 cup of Crisco, which is also 2 chicken egg size, like a large chicken egg. I typically don't measure anything, but for you guys, I'm trying it. And then this is a 1.5 cups of buttermilk, but the humidity in the air sometimes messes with ingredients. It messes with the way things fold in, and we may need a little bit more. So I have a little bit more back here so that we can use it if we need it. So we're going to get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our sifter, put it in our bowl so that anything that comes through is not going to make a mess. I use my sweet little teacup here and put it in. The inside of my sifter, most sifters, has a line on it that tells you how many cups is in there. So if your teacup isn't exactly 1 cup, or if you use something else, then you can always go from the line on your sifter. And I need just a tad bit more, and then you're going to sift your flour out. Now we have our super fine flour. I'm going to take just a little more, and we're going to put it over here in this deep bowl so that when I get my biscuit ready, I can just toss them in that. And I'm going to put that there. It's going to make a mess, but it's okay. Biscuits are messy. Life is messy, so let's get to it. We've got our super fine flour. You're going to put your Crisco in, and this part is a little gross, but it's necessary. I like to turn mine around and coat it a little bit just so that it doesn't stick to my fingers so much. And you're going to want to work it into the flour until you get a wet sand consistency, and then you'll know that the Crisco is broke up enough, because you certainly don't want to bite into a biscuit and it have a pocket of Crisco in there, and it's just gonna run. And there's a difference in having a nice moist biscuit, but nobody wants a grease pocket. So you're gonna mix that in. You're gonna have a consistency like this, able to, when you put it together, it's gonna stay a little bit like kinetic sand, but it's super simple, super easy. Get it off my hands just a little bit. And then we're gonna put in our entire 1.5 cups of buttermilk. Buttermilk's pretty thick, so sometimes it sticks. And then you just take your hand and you start working it in. Work that milk in with the Crisco and the flour. And if needed, we'll add some more milk, but sometimes we don't have to add anything. It's pretty cold and dry here right now, so we may need a tiny bit, but it's looking pretty good. Let me get this fully mixed together so I don't waste your time, and I'll be right back. Now that our dough is completely made, we're going to go on to the next step of putting them into the palm size, because they're going to rise while they're in the oven, and we're gonna get them into our cast iron and into the oven. So you're gonna get a pretty big hefty spoonful. I like to roll mine just a tad, put it in the flour and bounce it back and forth. It's actually pretty fun. And then I roll it, form it around, and then you put it in your skillet and pat down with the back of your hand, and you'll have fingerprint in the back. I'm gonna do one more to show you, and then we'll speed this up and you can see what's in the pan. Back of your hand and pat it down a little bit. All right, so we've got all of our biscuits into our pan now. We've got 7 really big biscuits. We're gonna put them into the oven at 450 degrees for about 10 minutes until they're golden brown on top. Then we're gonna pull them out and put some butter all over the top. So we had some dough left after making our big cathead biscuits. There's 7 of them in that pan, and we could have made another 3, but the pan wouldn't allow it. So you can do several things with this dough. You can either put this dough in a Ziploc bag, wrap it up with saran wrap, an airtight container, roll it out and make some fried pies with it. You can make dumplings with it. You can make more biscuits with it. But what I'm gonna do, because it's just me and my little boy here, and we don't need all of this at one time, so we're going to freeze these so that we can just pop them out at any time. So same thing that we did with those. You're just gonna take a big spoonful to roll mine a little, put it in here, go back and forth, roll it out, and you're gonna put it on a parchment lined plate or a pan or a tray, whatever you have, because this is just gonna go into the freezer until it is frozen solid, and then you're gonna put it in an airtight container so that you can just freeze it up to 3 months before you use it. But we ain't waiting 3 months to eat these. So you just do like this, put on there, press the back, just like you did with the others. And we're gonna get 3, and that'll be good. And we can pop these out anytime we want them. Put them in a 450 degree oven. No need to thaw it out. You've seen biscuits in the grocery section at the store, same premise. These are just better. You know what's in it. You made them with your own 2 hands, just as quick, easy, and a lot cheaper than buying them from the store. So we've got these 3, and we're gonna put them in the freezer and have them at a later time. We're gonna wait for these others that are in the oven, and we'll be back. Now that we have our biscuits in the oven and our extras are on this tray so that we can get them put into the freezer to use for another time, clean those dishes up. We don't want to be doing that when we get our biscuits out. Y'all, look at those biscuits. It took about 13 minutes this time rather than 10. Everybody's ovens are the same. So let's get these put down and slather them with butter. You gotta be super careful because this cast iron holds heat really well, and it will burn a blister on you real quick. You can hear the sizzling of the butter when it goes down. Look at that. All right, guys, this is the moment of truth. This is gonna be super hot, but you've got to see. Look at that. I'm gonna have to put it down because it's real hot. Let me bring it a little closer to you. Look at that fluffy biscuit. There's nothing more perfect than that right there. I'm gonna pop it open so y'all can see just how. Let me come a little closer. Look at this. That's gonna be good, y'all. So I like to eat biscuits plain. I like to eat them with jelly, jams, fruit, eggs, bacon, whatever. But I have some strawberry preserves that I made this summer, and when the time comes, I'll show you how to make this too when the springtime comes. Whew, it's gonna be good. Look at that. Let's try it. That'll take you home. Thank you for coming and watching. I hope you learned something today. If you have questions, let me know. I enjoyed our time together, and I will be super happy to see you again on next Saturday. But for now, take the sunshine wherever you go, guys.